And welcome to the No Something Required podcast, a podcast where we talk about nothing and where we apparently take 3 weeks off for no good reason. And now your trio of hosts, starting with Audrey, absent from the show, Ember, vacation Romina, and of course your Dark Lord of the interwebs, Roberto Blake. Welcome to the No Something Required podcast, filmed in front of a live YouTube audience. Please like, subscribe, and leave us a review. Welcome to episode 92.
I was here 2 weeks ago, unlike Romina.
That was wow. You know, guys, I could take a couple weeks off. Calm down.
Like, no, can you adjust your camera to where we can actually?
No, okay. So just for like the first couple minutes, I'm gonna remain like this just because I'm eating.
Okay.
And although I do eat with my mouth closed,
sure.
It's yeah.
Sure, no problem.
I got a couple more bites left. I made this really delicious salmon, and I don't want it to go to waste. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, the show must go on, as they say. At least we have a way to do a show.
Yeah, chef's kiss.
Yeah. Jesus.
So you guys will be happy to know that on my end, I shouldn't be having that many more technical difficulties anymore because on my end, because I moved into the new house and because I ran up my credit cards doing this, hiring contractors. I had contractors come out and put Ethernet ports in every single room of my house. So now I have wired internet and I have 3 wireless access points. So I got that good WAP. And and so I now should have the full unlimited powers of the internet at my disposal at all times. So I should have good high-speed internet for all the live streaming goodness at all times because I've got a wired connection now. In fact, I'm just going to run a little speed test. I've got, what now? 600 and... It's almost done here. Looks like it's about 650 down and 35 up. Yeah, I'm crushing it. Oh, 37 up, 38. Oh, wow. So yeah, I've got that good internet.
So if the Wi-Fi lags,
it's not gonna be Wi-Fi now. Now it's gonna be wired. It's just straight up wired. I got just straight up hard lines.
All right.
I'll send you. Actually, I'll send you guys the server closet to the group chat. Like, I mean, it's pretty robust, and it was not cheap to do this. And they had to come out here and they had to do all kinds of drilling, and they had to go up into the attic, the basement. They had to, do all this stuff with the walls. It was a lot.
It's definitely gonna be worth it though.
Oh yeah. This house was never wired for the internet.
Out?
What's that?
Do you have a generator?
That's the one thing I don't have yet. That's the next. That's the next plan.
It's like if the power goes out, then you will sell Wi-Fi.
Fair enough, but my next plan
works well.
And my next plan is the house generator. I mean, the money I had to spend, because obviously I drained most of my coffers with the down payment on the house, and then doing the things to physically move, and then I had to have a COVID cleaning crew, which it's very difficult to move during a pandemic. I had to have a COVID cleaning crew. I had to put some stuff in storage, and so it's like the move wiped me out. And then I had to get certain things done because I didn't just have to get the stuff done for the business as far as the internet, because it was a problem. The internet was a problem because this house was never wired for the internet ever, because this house is old. And then the house was not brought up to code on the electrical stuff. That came out in the inspection. So since in the inspection, we found out that the electrical wiring wasn't up to code, I had to have a whole new circuit box put in. I had to have a whole new breaker put in. I had to have rewiring done on certain things. I had to have CO2 and smoke detectors put in every single bedroom and in every single hallway, because that's Georgia law. So all of that had to be done, and it had to be done out of pocket.
I'm surprised that none of that stuff was already there.
It was an old house and old people lived here.
That's ageist, Roberto.
3 times.
Ageist.
And now it's got some more old people living in it.
Well played.
Romina, I love how it blurs out your hat.
I know. That's why I'm keeping it that way. I'm here for the aesthetic, the blurred aesthetic. Audrey, what mic are you using? Just your MacBook?
Is it bad?
It was a question.
It's bad, isn't it? It's my AirPods. I can switch to my computer, but I think you'll hear the fan.
Switch to the computer real quick. Let's see if it makes a difference. Because I can hear everything right now.
Wait, actually no, my mic is my computer right now for some reason. Let me switch to my AirPods.
Did that work?
Yes.
Yeah. My audio is off now. Why?
Well, at least I don't hear the room right
better?
now.
Okay, that's better.
I don't know that this is any better.
I mean, it's better because you
Is it
don't hear
not?
the room noise. Before it was just like a constant shh.
Yeah, it's probably the fan.
I mean, she'd have to mute every time that she's not speaking in order for it to really sound okay.
That's fair. We're gonna like shoot the breeze because until you're done eating, Romina, I don't want to get to today's topic of Elon Musk versus the world until like you're ready to jump into the
Man, why are you trying to rush me?
Oh, I'm not trying to rush you, but like in the meantime, I mean, I got a question because you guys were talking about like me getting like a backup generator for the house. Like what? Like how much does that sort of thing like run, do you think? And like what do you do about that? Or does anyone in the chat know like how do you do a backup generator for your house? I mean, and like what was like, is there a real solution in terms of a solar version of that these days? Like what do you do?
I have no clue. I don't know. I don't know much about generators, gonna be honest. I know my parents' house has one here, but I know nothing about it.
Have you ever used that generator, Audrey? Like have you guys
like whenever the power goes out, it just turns on. Which is useful. So at least like it doesn't, you can still like use the lights and stuff in the house. It makes a lot of noise, but that's about it.
Interesting.
most solar houses have a battery backup?
Well, this house isn't a solar house, but it's like, so it'd be, you know.
It's an old house.
Yeah, this old house.
In the middle of the street. Oh man, I haven't heard that song in a long time. All right. So what is happening in the world of Elon Musk?
Well, apparently he's been in Twitter having blood feuds with everybody, and it's been delicious to watch.
What?
Well,
oh yeah.
Everyone keeps picking up. Well, first of all, Elon won the distinguished honor of being Time's Person of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
He is currently the richest man in the world, even richer than Bezos, and at this point, it's not even close. And, you know, everybody keeps going after him. The media takes shots at him, and both Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders both took shots at him. Joy Reid, and they had the nerve. Elizabeth Warren had the nerve to call him a freeloader who doesn't pay any taxes. She can call him the richest man in the world, but she can't. She could make all the jokes she wants about his wealth being obscene and all the things she wants to say and all that moral bullshit. But she can't say he's a freeloader, and she can't sit there and act like, one, he's not about to pay the largest tax bill that any American's ever paid. Number one. Two, he doesn't generate income. Her and her homies wrote the damn tax code. In fact, I mean, they're so old, maybe they wrote the original tax code when the country was founded. Like,
dang, Roberto, you are all about the age today.
Hey, I'm 37. As far as the internet's concerned, I'm a senior citizen, so it's fair game.
Oh, wow. Yeah, according to Audrey and her generation.
Yeah, according to
Everyone
Gen
is a
Z,
senior
I'm
citizen.
ancient, so I'm just talking trash about my own like peers at this point. Because according to Gen Z, I'm ancient now.
Audrey,
Like,
how old are you now?
87.
Okay.
So like, yeah. So I mean, it's ridiculous and it's absurd. You can't sit there and call him a freeloader. That is ridiculous. He's one of the people who's made one. And the thing is, the thing that annoys me is that politically speaking, he would be an ally to a lot of the progressive causes, including climate change being the chief cause, considering him wanting to make us an interplanetary species, what he's doing with Tesla and Solar City, even with SpaceX. Those things are all in the interest of anyone who cares about climate change or the environment or Earth being in crisis. He is bettering humanity with his resources and with his money. He's using his wealth the way you're supposed to. Instead of using it to bankroll failed government programs, he's using it to literally make Earth a better place for all humans. Just because he's not doing it the way that the government wants to do it and he's doing a better job of it, like, you don't get to criticize him for that and call him a freeloader.
Just because they can't control it.
And because they can't control it, right? He also creates all these jobs, and they're good, high-paying jobs. So he was in California paying absurd taxes in a different way, and so were all of the employees that were in California and everything. So he moved to Texas. He's about to pay the largest tax bill that any American has ever paid, $15 billion. $15 billion. And I'll tell you guys, because everyone wants to lie about him and say, oh, he makes his money, he's wealthy because he exploits his workers. No, he is a hard worker. And yes, he does outwork people, even people at his own company. Like, he is the kind of lunatic that works 60 or 80 hours a week. If you wanted to ever say there was someone who embodies, quote unquote, a toxic level of hustle, it's not Gary Vee, it's probably Elon Musk. So you can't sit there and like look at him and say workaholic, toxic hustle bro 1 minute and then call him a lazy freeloader the next. That's stupid. That's ridiculous. The other thing is you can't sit there and cry about his wealth accumulation when he doesn't even take a salary. His wealth is because he put all of his money in his company, owned shares of his company, and his company sold products to the top 10% of earners in the world. And so the company is valuable. Big surprise. That's why his wealth, he's not generating an income, he's building wealth. Those are two different things. And you can't compare the lifestyle of someone who works for a paycheck and is trying to make an income to someone who's trying to build wealth. They're two completely different games. That is a very different set of games. That's like trying to compare somebody who plays basketball casually at the gym on the weekend with their homies to somebody who is trying to make the Olympic basketball team, wants to be on the dream team, or wants to go to the NBA and wants to win a championship. It's a big difference. You're not playing the same game.
Audrey, how do you feel about Person of the Year?
The real answer is I don't really care. What is Time Magazine? Who reads magazines these days?
That's a fair point.
See, that's what I was getting at.
Were people mad that he was Person of the Year? Or mad about all the other
Elizabeth
stuff?
Warren tweeted is that she's going to, quote unquote, allegedly change things so that next time Time's Person of the Year is someone who actually pays taxes, is what she wanted to tweet out. And Elon decided to slide up into them replies and ratio Miss
And he
Warren.
was like, shut up.
And it was delicious.
Not the ratio.
Oh my God, was it
pretty
amazing.
Good. It was pretty good. I feel like even if you don't like him, you can appreciate how good it was.
Yeah, I respect this level of petty. It was delicious. I'm like, good for him for standing up for himself, because everyone would say, oh, you're the richest man. What are you doing? Take it on the chin. Oh, get over it. Everyone's blowing off steam by punching at you. You can take it. You're rich. It's like, no, you can't just let people get away with stuff and let them blow off steam because they're punching up and everything like that. You want to punch up? Don't cry when somebody tiger uppercuts your behind. Oh, you want to punch up at somebody because you think that, oh, they can take it. They can take it. You think you're going to get a free shot. You think you're deserving a free shot? No. When the champ decides to roundhouse kick you in the face, when you said, oh, I'm going to take a free shot, and then the champ takes that free shot and then decides to roundhouse kick you in the face in return, don't cry about it. You had it coming.
How about we not justify and normalize bullying people? Period.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Period.
Well, that'd be nice.
That's a good note.
But, influencers like to say that, oh, you can do that if you are oppressed or if you're marginalized and everything, then you got a free pass.
I don't think so.
You got these ignorant ass influencers with all this woke nonsense doing that and everything like that. It's like, hate to tell you that. I'm sitting here and it's like, as like a black kid who got bullied, how about no?
Yeah, how about if you try to bully me, I never speak to you again.
Oh, you'd be lucky if that's like how no, you'd be lucky if that if you'd be lucky if it
If
comes
you get
down
out
to that.
that, right, yeah.
Yeah,
If
you're
you get
lucky.
out like that, it's
Like, how about I give you the full David Banner? like, yeah, okay. Like, let's go. Like full David Banner. It's like you got it covered. It's like you got the full Dr. Banner here. Let's go.
Match.
Yeah.
The only way
Hulk
to settle
smash!
arguments.
Like, you know.
I want to see
Hulk smash,
Elizabeth
puny
Warren
bullies.
versus Elon Musk in a ring.
Wait. I mean,
That'd be
like,
awesome.
I don't know about all that. Although I
Dude,
would
it'd
like.
be great.
Here's the thing, though. No, it wouldn't be because it wouldn't even be fair. Because like Elon's the kind of lunatic who would actually train.
yeah, I can see that. I can
Like
see that.
Elon would go full Tony
Okay,
Stark. He would go full Tony Stark, come
What
out
if
with
we put
washboard
both-
abs, Avenger style. Like, actually, no, Elon would just build a damn Iron Man suit. He'd train
What if-
and he'd build a damn Iron Man suit and say, "Oh no, but this isn't a weapon. It's a prosthesis. It's a prosthetic. It's a prosthetic armor. It's like, let's go.
That can shoot you or tase you.
Repulsor rays. Yeah. let's
Andy
go.
says just block them on the metaverse. What do you guys think about that? You know, there was that whole Black Mirror. Did you guys see that Black Mirror episode where people just kind of become like blobs, like black, you know, because it's like your retinas are connected to a feed, like a network. And so
What?
like your identity just becomes like a blob, like when you're unfriended kind of thing.
Oh
You
no, I
guys
did not
did see
see that.
one?
No, but I'll
No.
definitely check it out.
Oh, you know why? I think it's
Black Mirror
because
got
it wasn't an episode. It was a special. So it was a Christmas special. So it was an
I see.
episode, but it was like an off episode that maybe
Okay.
most people missed.
It does sound to me though like some stuff I've seen in anime though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. For sure. I mean that's where we're headed, right?
I'm all for it to be
if
honest.
we got wearables. What?
No.
Yeah.
Roberto, what if
No.
what if I block you and then like you just become a blob to me, you know?
Well, I mean, I'm a blob to you, but I'm gonna be emperor of the metaverse, so
Oh god.
What if I'm emperor of my own metaverse?
I'll conquer your territory.
Why? Why can't
'Cause
you
I
just
will leave
leave me
now.
to my territory?
No,
Why can't
I
you
want
just
it all.
leave me?
I want it
Romina
all.
just wants to be Switzerland.
I believe in decentralization.
I covet it all.
You
One
know,
empire.
I don't
one
like
empire.
this totalitarian
One empire.
At least we
attitude.
know we can get a head start.
It'll be. Look, I offer a simple choice. I offer a simple choice: one world or no world at all.
I'll take neither.
Trent says today's standards of bullying don't even hold a candle to 25 years ago.
Well, except when it comes to politicians who were still ancient 25 years ago.
Oh, wow. Again, Roberto. You need to calm down. We do have
Wait,
some
how old
older
is Elon
people
Musk?
watching.
And I'm sure they agree with me. I'm sure anybody watching that's over 60 wants there to be term limits and doesn't want anybody in office serving after the retirement age of 67. Almost every person I've talked to who's over 60, everybody, even my own parents, were like, yeah, people that are in their 60s don't have them in office. They're like, no more lifelong politicians. And everybody I've talked to agrees to my 25-year lifetime cap on serving in public office, that regardless of what your position is, that you can go through all of your different, like, oh, run for Senate, do Congress, do this, do that, do
You
president.
think 25 years should be the cap?
25 years, you get
That
to
seems
be
like
a
a long
politician.
time.
No, 25 years is the lifetime cap to be a politician, and that includes every time you've been a politician. Meaning that, okay, you were governor for a few years, you were governor for 8 years, you've got 17 years left in politics. You want to be president one day, you better like not be a lifelong politician. You better save up some time on the clock, or you better get it done quicker. You better move up, or you got to figure out what you're going to do, because you will not get to have, like, we have people who've been serving in government for 40 or 50 years. That's insane. They, like, 2 whole humans have been born the time that they've been in power. That's too much. That's too much. You should get like one human being born and raised to adulthood to hold that power and to influence their lives. You get to influence the lives of people for a quarter century, and then you're done.
I just feel like 25 is a lot, man. Like I feel like
we have people double that. The standard right now is more than that. The average is higher. The average of people serving in public office and politics is longer than that. So I'm like, this will cut it down by half to a third of what it normally is. And
I'll trust that you've done the research. I have to admit that I haven't. It just seems like to me, 5 minutes seems like a long time, you know? So I have that perspective of like, man, 25 years, that's like a long time, you know?
People can have 4 generations of their family and under the same people in power, and that's too much. People can go, if you can go 3 generations of your family and still see the same people in power, that's too much.
Oh yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Trent just quoted a politician saying, I don't understand the internet, but I want to regulate it.
Oh my god, did you guys see the Finsta clip?
No. Explain.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, the politician is like trying to get Instagram to regulate Finstas, and he has no idea what he's talking about.
Really? I didn't see that.
Ultimate troll of like,
it's so
ultimate troll
to watch.
Got like our people are incompetent, and this will also solve that problem. 25 years, you're in, you're out. You will know the culture of the people that you're governing. If you have to 25 years, you're in, you're out. You'll know the culture of the people you're governing. You'll actually represent the people you're governing, the majority of them.
Yeah, that video like hurt my brain. Physically hurt my brain.
Oh, I've been there. I know the pain. I'm well aware.
Yeah. Elon and Bernie were fighting a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah. I love I forgot that you still existed comment.
Yeah. Oh, that you were still alive. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like, yeah.
Maybe politicians should just not have Twitter.
That would probably be in their best interest at this point.
The level of disrespect. I mean, I can see the value in like being communicative, like having that open communication with the people.
We had politicians before we had Twitter. They don't need it.
I agree with you, but I agree on that level in general. Like, I think that not everybody needs to have a voice, but that's an entirely different topic, I guess.
They already have a voice. They already have a platform. They can call a news press conference anytime they want. They don't need to be on Twitter. Leave the rest of us alone.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I'm not going to.
When they got rid of Trump from Twitter, I was like, and the thing is, it's like, oh wow, the site got like noticeably like less tense and less toxic. I'm like, what if they just got rid of all the politicians like from Twitter? I'm like, don't. Well,
the thing is that all right, let's
just take them all off, and we'll have peace.
All right. Hold on, but let's say, all right, in this situation, that we have applied the term limits and, you know, the 25-year cap and all of that. All right. And now let's say that these people are normal people, right? They're not politicians. Like when they're not in office, they're just regular Joes. Are they allowed to be on the platform?
Sure.
So at what point, how do you control that? How do you tell somebody like, oh,
it's the
you know,
same rules that apply to people who are in certain positions within the military because they are special forces and stuff like that. They're not necessarily allowed to. Special forces and certain people that are high ranking within certain government agencies actually aren't allowed to have social media, especially when they're security clearance or deep cover or anything like that. They can't. So you go back basically to being a civilian. There are things you just cannot do when you're a high profile person. And so if you're then going to leave that behind then, and you're no longer in office or in power, you're no longer serving in a capacity like that, then you get to be a civilian again, and then you get your freedoms back. But when you're in the service of, you can't, like, there's things that they limit that you can't do within certain, like in certain levels of military service, there's things that you can't do. And if you leave the service, you get to be a civilian again. So I would apply that rule to sitting politicians. in a lot of respects, and not just with Twitter, maybe with their ability to trade individual stocks. No more insider trading. No more insider trading. Like, okay, you can't do that. Maybe you have to cut ties with a company and put that in a blind trust. Maybe we extend the emoluments clause within the Constitution and we make it more robust and we actually enforce it.
True that.
Or we can just use a big robot that controls everything, like in WALL-E.
Wait, I thought you were against robots.
I thought you were against Skynet. Like,
you're being very
that was a
contrarian
joke.
right now.
I mean, it's just the.
Skynet
Was it a
praised.
joke, or are you finally seeing the value in automation?
I'll vote for Skynet.
No.
I'll vote for Skynet. I will give it all to machine overlords and let them decide, and I will abide by their ruling.
No.
Man, this girl
Have you
has
watched
seen
WALL-E?
Have you?
We
Audrey,
don't know how WALL-E ends.
Forget.
want
Did you
to
see the
keep
question she
control.
just asked? I mean, did you
don't
watch
know.
WALL-E? Come on.
Me
Where
and
are you
Romina
right now?
are the ones who have actually watched movies and films that exist outside of YouTube.
Where are you right
I'm
now?
making sure.
Listen, I watched WALL-E, all right? The day it came out, the premiere. You know how there's like a premiere?
WALL-E.
I watched it the night before, all right?
Ooh,
At El Capitan
in 19 what?
on Hollywood. I don't have to stand for this disrespect. This is like, I don't come here for this.
It was right there. I'm so sorry I had to. It was It was
All
right
right.
there.
Okay. I can see that there's
Sorry, Romeo, I'm sorry.
conversation is not being taken seriously.
Off the rails.
I'm
But yeah, but going back to like Elon, let me bring something up because I think this is important. It's like, all right, how did Elon Musk make his money? Well, first of all, everyone loves to when people want to talk about him benefiting from exploitation. First of all, if you live in America, shut up about people benefiting from exploitation, because every American wakes up and when they step out of bed and when they breathe, they're benefiting from exploitation, all kinds of horrible things, including slavery. So shut the hell up. Like, stop crying. And then the other thing about that is when you talk about, it's like everybody who believes that should snap their iPhone in half then. Like, if they're going to make that comment. Like, so they talk about his family's emerald mines. Elon ran away from home to Canada basically as a teenager and had a toxic relationship with his father and was cut off, So like, don't give me that crap. And then when he was young, he built, a piece of tech and he sold it. And then he made his money. Then he went on, and he built another company and sold that. Then he became part of the PayPal mafia. And then on his exit, he had a lot of money. And what did he do with that money? He invested all of his money into basically two companies, Tesla and SpaceX for the most part. Also a little bit into Solar City. So like 3 companies, but 2 of them were like, really good. And the thing is, they almost went under multiple times. He's someone who's literally made a fortune and almost lost it. And he did do everything really humble. And if you look at his life, he's not sat there and had this extravagant lifestyle, just like spending and flaunting his wealth and his opulence. He literally lives like, for all of his wealth and everything like that, Elon Musk might as well be Diogenes. He might as well be Diogenes the dog. He's living in a freaking like makeshift tiny house hut. Like, I think that literally my home office might be bigger than Elon's house.
Oh yeah, have we seen photos of this so-called tiny place?
Yeah.
Where are these photos? Because I tried to look at it, but it was like when the news first came out. So.
I think there's a YouTube video where he gives a house tour.
Oh, shut up! Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, he's also joked about becoming a YouTuber, like saying, "What if I just quit my companies and become an influencer?"
I saw those tweets.
Yeah. Of course. Oh, those are the tweets you saw. Of course, those are the tweets Audrey saw. The tweets where Elon becomes a YouTuber.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. here's my thing. If you literally tie all of your money and your wealth to, I will only make as much money as my success and my wealth and my net worth will be tied to the success of the company that I run. How many Americans would make that deal and have the balls to say, I'm going to build a business, I'm going to go into one of the most competitive industries that has ever existed. I'm going to literally challenge the established masters of the universe. I'm also going to compete directly and try to do something better than the government does. AKA, NASA, AKA space travel. I'm going to try and compete on space travel directly and do something better than the federal government. I'm going to try and do something better than Ford Motors and GM. Do you think most Americans have the guts and the balls to say, and not only that, I will only make money in proportion to how successful these two long bets that I make are. And if I fail, I lose everything. And I will be publicly embarrassed. Like, most Americans would have taken the money that they made from PayPal and from his previous ventures and said, okay, I've got more than $10 million. I got more than $20 million. You know what? I'm just going to live the good life. I'm out of this entrepreneurship thing. I'll just live nice, buy a house, invest my money in other people being smart. And they would not keep competing. They would not keep playing the game. They would say, I take my winnings. I'm cashing out. I hit the jackpot. Most people would just stop. He kept going. That's why he's a billionaire. He's a billionaire because he's a self-made millionaire and no one can argue it. No one can argue it. Look at the history. He's a self-made millionaire. And then he is a self-made billionaire because he invested into things and kept going where other people would have quit. And he invested into things that had a high chance of failing. High astronomical chance of failing. And the thing is, almost nobody in America will say, hey, I'm going to take all of my money and I'm going to invest it into one company or one idea that I really believe in. Now, when some people do that, what happens? They either lose everything or they get rich. And we know that because we saw what happened with people who said, all right, I'm going to let it all roll on Doge. Was that stupid and foolish for most people? Yeah. But a lot of people who did that and did that super early came out of it being broke people who became millionaires. I'm not advocating for doing that, by the way. I'm just making a point that people who take risk are people who win in life, generally speaking. It's okay, hate to break it to you. It's I remember this. Hate to break it to you. When I was a really risk-adverse, shy, massive, scaredy cat nerd and wouldn't make a move, guess what? Oh, wow. It's girls were overlooking me. When I finally got a pair and started actually putting myself out there, taking the risk of embarrassment publicly, getting shot down, high risk, high reward. Oh, it started working out better for me. Oh, crap, I'm actually getting somewhere because, oh, I'm displaying confidence and, oh, I'm at least taking a shot. Oh, on some occasions, if you take a shot, oh, gee, you actually win. But people who refuse to take any risk or take a shot or shoot their shot are surprised that they feel like losers. They're surprised that they're not getting massive success. It's you won't do the things that Elon Musk would do. Of course you aren't going to be in the same situation. You won't do what the dude would do.
Right, because there's a difference between the average person who doesn't take the risks that are needed. And that's not even talking at a large scale, like becoming a billionaire.
Yeah, but almost no American, Romina, right now, if you bless them with $10 or $20 million, or if they worked for it, they wouldn't keep going and try. And he wasn't even trying to become a billionaire. That's just something that happened as a result of the thing he was trying to do. He wasn't even trying to become, he didn't say, oh, I'm going to become the richest man in the world. He wanted to change the world.
And he's done it.
Yeah. And so that success is tied to stocks. The average American, if the average American ties their success to radically transformative stocks, they end up getting large returns. He happened to have a lot more to be able to invest, and that's because he built stuff. You don't get rich working for somebody else most of the time, with the exception of unless you work for Tesla. Because everyone wants to say, oh no, he got rich because he exploited his employees. What exploitation? Isn't the average salary of a Tesla employee $150,000? If we look it up right now, the average salary of a Tesla employee, the average salary is $150,000 if you average everyone who works at the company. Elon's salary is $0. He gets paid exclusively in stock options. Tesla employees get stock options. And if I'm not mistaken, percentage per capita, Tesla employs the most millionaires per capita of any company in America. Tesla employees are millionaires because they get stock options, and if they keep their stock options and they keep putting money into the company they work at, the company they believe in, they end up getting rich. And that's why Elon has a very low turnover over at Tesla, and he makes people rich. And even people who whine about the toxic culture or whatever they think that whatever they want to whine about, they like, you're getting rich working here. Shut up. They're not going to leave because they want to keep their stock options.
I wish I could get exploited like that.
Like, I think the lowest paid Tesla employee gets $45,000 a year, paternity leave, healthcare, and stock options. It sounds like a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
If I was like an entry level employee again or wherever, I would kill to be exploited like that. The lowest level, entry level Tesla employee makes more than I did between their bonuses, their stock options, and their healthcare and their paid leave that I made at the peak of my career in corporate America. And they start at that. The average Amazon worker, basically at this point, gets a better deal than I got working for 10 years for other people, working my way up, earning raises, like when I left corporate America, someone starting in Amazon today in a warehouse that with barely a high school education with a GED can walk in and basically get a better deal than I worked for all the way up until I was like 27. They're saying they're exploited? Are you kidding me? Compared to what? What, compared to like an E1 to E4 in the military who gets a worse deal than that? Yeah. They get a better deal than someone serving their country and going to war.
Trent says he wouldn't want to be him, that he'd be fine just being a secret millionaire. I think that's the case for most people, right?
Most people happily would. That's actually what most millionaires in America are.
Sometimes it just happens, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's a little bit like actors where it's not all of them are seeking the fame, right? I mean, it's just, they kind of just want to be recognized for their work, but not necessarily be hounded by paparazzis, right?
And some of them, it happens even later in life for them, like what happened with like Morgan Freeman, for example.
Right. And it's just something that does happen. It's not, I'm not saying that I'm not justifying it, but I am saying that it is something that just happens, obviously, because if millions of people are seeing you and they recognize your face and they like what you do, then there is bound to be that kind of attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make it any easier, but it is what it is.
It's also like functionally right now, it's not actually functionally that difficult in America to make money. And I know people keep arguing this, but right now, the people who have it the worst are the people who've been formerly incarcerated or formerly homeless. They're discriminated against in job opportunities. So like, you know, like most people who are not in that category, if they want a job right now, they can have one. So like, what's the deal with, okay, you can't earn money or you can't earn enough in America? Earn enough for what? People come here with nothing and don't even speak the language as immigrants, and they get their stuff together and they work together. What they do is they're humble, though. They don't decide that they need a single bedroom to themselves. They're humble. They'll say, I just need a place for my head, and 3 or 4 of us will just make this really, really affordable. And so we can eat good, but we'll just won't have privacy. And we'll do that for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and we'll get our life together and we'll get ahead. But people are trying to have everything all at once, and they want someone else to pay for it.
I know people who got to this country not even 7 years ago, and they have already managed to build a business, buy boats, have cars, and start a family.
Oh, I mean, well, Romina, they just got lucky. Not everybody can do that.
Oh, and without speaking the language, the main language that's spoken here in the United States, which is English.
Mm-hmm. While also being discriminated against.
True that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah.
they had it easy and they got really lucky, so.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, nonsense. It's nonsense of the highest order. Funny thing is they keep pretending that all this tax money that they're going to get out of like these billionaires is going to do so much good and everything like that. And when I say people, it's like, oh, really? Elon's about to pay 15 million. 3 times that amount of money. We waste that incarcerating non-violent drug offenders for drug possession every single year, and you somehow think that magically getting $15 billion or even $50 billion out of Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, you literally think even seizing 100% of whatever their net worth is would be enough for our government to fix your life and make your life better? They can't even do it. Even if they distributed it across all of y'all, they're going to end up giving y'all like $5,000 or some BS. It's not even, they can't even do it. They printed 80% of the dollars that have ever existed in your lives. Didn't get any better. They went and they spent $2 trillion to build another nation and then surrender it to the enemy. And you believe that taxing billionaires is going to make the world, the country, a better place for everybody? That is the most stupid thing I've ever heard.
But they got more money than they need, Roberto.
It's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. That is stupid. That is stupid. That is stupid.
Audrey.
It is just freaking stupid. This is stupid. Like the fact that anyone believes that that's the answer and everything like that, it's an indictment of the education system in this country and everything like that.
Audrey, would you like to interject? It's been about 20 minutes now.
Yes. As in, I
at all.
That was my reaction. I mean, I don't really know. I agree with most, like, the vast majority of what you're saying. I don't know. I honestly just
what don't you agree with?
I don't know. I think, just in general, like putting a blanket statement over everyone doesn't always work. But that's not what you guys are saying. That's where my brain just went. I don't know. I don't know. I guess my one thing is that even if people aren't like taking advantage of the opportunities here, I still think they should have like, basic stuff. You know what I mean?
Like what?
I understand that's kind-hearted. Okay, but like why? That's
because we are a first world country.
Okay, so what?
So they shouldn't be like on the streets.
Okay, so that means that the consequences of someone's actions have no okay, so you want to immute there being any consequences for people's actions. You think that people just end up do you think that people just end up in that situation? You think it's just bad luck?
I mean, I don't think it's luck. I think it's just there's too many like outlying factors. Like we don't know what's going on in someone's life.
We do know. We have statistics. We have like generally we don't know that for every single individual. You will find hard luck stories. You will find outliers in that. But we do have statistical data. We know, and this is my problem with the establishment right now. We know what poverty inciting elements exist. And the poverty inciting elements are not called billionaires. It's called an education system that doesn't prepare people to even have a trade or a skill and a way to earn money when they leave high school.
Yeah.
Someone who leaves high school, if they haven't done the work themselves, has no way to contribute to society in a way that produces a sustainable lifestyle that they're looking for. The other problem is we teach entitled young people to expect to have a certain lifestyle and glamorize what they've seen on TV when they're not entitled to that lifestyle because they want the average young person thinks that they're entitled to a $50,000-$60,000 a year lifestyle, and they think they're entitled to live a $30,000 to $60,000 a year lifestyle off of a salary that is explicitly meant to say this is your starting point in life for you to understand how to earn money and to have no skills and to be the least useful you could possibly be. So people who literally are the least useful they could possibly be at life because they have no lived experience, no technical ability, no skills, and a system has not equipped them to be useful, are expecting to have the lifestyle of someone who's been useful for 10, 20, 15, or 30 years. And it's absurd and it's ridiculous. You do not get that, because what would merit that from a contribution standpoint? Because there are jobs, everybody can look up Indeed.com, Salary.com, and you know what jobs pay $50,000 a year or more. You know what the qualifications are for those jobs. You will not meet those qualifications if you're mediocre, or you don't work hard, or you don't try to check those boxes. You know, oh, you want that lifestyle? Anybody can calculate what their lifestyle costs. Anybody can figure that out. And then everyone can extrapolate that, say times 12, and say that's how much I would need to make a year after taxes. And anyone can look up what job pays that. And guess what? Minimum wage jobs, entry-level jobs are not supposed to pay that, because there's a reason it's called an entry-level job. And if you're over 30 working an entry-level job, that's not because of billionaires. That's you. And at best, I could say that's the education system.
Any thoughts, Audrey?
I don't know. I feel like it'd be good if entry-level jobs could at least like support somebody.
In what sense?
Then why would anybody ever work hard?
Wait, in what sense?
Just so they can, you know, afford to like go to the doctor, not die, like basic necessities.
See, that's a fallacy. That's a fallacy. What circumstances, under which circumstances, you'd have to have, all right, not go to the doctor and not die. Well, under what condition? Do you know, like, so we're talking about your starting point in life.
That's on Audrey's campaign.
Hang on.
When she runs for senator.
Audrey,
go to the doctor, not die.
Audrey, if you're under Audrey, do you know what a catastrophic not life insurance? Do you know what a catastrophic health coverage policy is?
Yeah.
So you know what? So you also know it's extraordinarily cheap, right?
I mean, I'm not familiar. I'm under 25, all right?
But you understand the concept of but see, here's the thing. If you wanted healthcare coverage and you weren't covered under your parents, because by the way, people can have healthcare coverage if their parents also are paying for their health insurance. You also can have healthcare coverage if you're a student and you're in college. If you're in college, you can have healthcare coverage, just like my sister. You can have healthcare coverage if you're a student. So that's number one. And you can be a student and not go your life into tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars of debt if you work hard and you qualify for grants and financial aid by getting good grades and keeping good grades, like my sister. And if you go to an in-state school like my sister, you can, and she's not a super genius. She just works really damn hard and decided to not have as much of a social life as her peers, and she gets good grades. And so she decided that she works hard, she stays at home, she gets good grades, and she has $0 in student loan debt as a result of it, and is going to get a degree without going into debt. And because she's a student, she has healthcare coverage. So that means that there's literally a path to where if you don't F around in school, because you know what causes poverty? It's one, we don't have a great education system to begin with, and yet you won't have a great education system to begin with. But if you mess around in school, you're going to end up hurting if you mess around in school, because then if you only have a high school education and you didn't bother to learn a trade, your family doesn't have a trade, or you don't have an exceptional ability on your own, or if you're not hustling the internet, then the odds are you don't get a good job directly out of high school because you're not qualified or trained to do anything. You have no references, you have no experiences, and you're not qualified. So yeah, you're going to end up with a piss poor salary. Why? Because you're expected that this is supposed to just be helping you get by while you stay at home and maybe go to school or save up to go to school, because that's what entry-level jobs are. Or it helps get you on your feet when you first get to this country. That's what entry-level jobs are. They're a starting point. People are supposed to work their way up. We can improve economic mobility, but pretending that it doesn't exist or that it's stagnated and not taking individual responsibility for the fact, no, people don't work to move up. They stay at entry-level jobs up until their 30s or 40s now for some reason, when 2 generations before them, people weren't doing that. They were hustling, going to work, going to school, all of those things, sure. And some things have bad bosses, and some and yeah, I know what people are talking about, but it's like my entry-level jobs sucked too 20 years ago. But I still also worked my way up. When they sucked, it's like I started looking to the other stores in the mall. Like, sheesh.
I guess I just don't understand why. I
But
feel
people
like
under 30 can get healthcare coverage. They can get catastrophic coverage. So unless you have a pre-existing condition, and then I mean, how many Americans do people really think are destitute in this country? It's not 1%. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that. We have 650,000 homeless people. We have 250,000 of them unsheltered. We have 2 million incarcerated. Almost half of those are nonviolent offenders that could be saving us $35 billion in tax revenue every year if we weren't locking people up for a dime bag. We could legalize. Where's the administration on legalization? Where are they on decriminalization? You could save the American people tens of billions of dollars, not ruining people's lives, especially young people's lives, and then having them discriminated against on jobs for the rest of their life over a damn dime bag. We can fix poverty very easily.
Because certain politicians benefit and make money from prison, from inmates.
Yeah, it's very lucrative.
It is very lucrative.
You could end poverty. You could end deep poverty in America really easily. You could stop with the nonsense with the nonviolent drug offenders and like literally exploiting and criminalizing and profiting from poverty, because it's not the billionaires like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos doing that. That's the government and government adjacent people. You could regulate the pharmaceutical companies by closing trademark loopholes to make sure that drugs go generic at the time that they're supposed to and make them affordable for people. They could have done that years ago and they would have refused. And they exploited people like my grandmother and my mother with that nonsense around diabetes medication. They could have done that and fixed that poverty inciting element decades ago. They didn't do it. They could have stopped ruining people's lives for drug possession. They could have lowered prescription drug prices. They could do a lot more with the foster care to prison pipeline, and they won't do jack about it, but they'll scream all day about billionaires as if they aren't causing poverty, taxing poverty, and profiting from poverty.
I guess what I don't understand is why is there this, like, why is it that people deserve this? You know, like that entitlement of like, well, everybody deserves this. And I don't understand why that is. Like, outside of the level of survival and comfort, I feel like everything after that is a luxury. And it's not necessary for everybody to drive a really nice car or have the latest iPhone. Like, it isn't necessary for everybody to live this luxurious lifestyle. And we do live in a country where we do have access to medical care, and it isn't reserved just for people who have a lot of money or a really great job. I mean, for my entire 20s, I barely had to pay for any medical care, and I had all sorts of stuff done. And it was all accessible to me because I went out and I looked for it. I mean, it's very simple. Instead of complaining about it and saying that it didn't exist, I found out that it did exist. I mean, even within Georgia, that has very difficult, like state healthcare is very difficult to get. Basically, if you're not like a single mom, it's difficult to get if you aren't able to pay for it. But even within that, I found that there was care for me as a female. There were things that were specific to females that I could get for free, like completely covered by the state. Obviously, I'm paying taxes for that, but the point is that it's there. So I don't understand why it's so difficult, right? Like why there is that fallacy of like it isn't accessible.
Someone explained to me how we managed to give out free vaccines of an experimental therapy that was passed in record time through FDA approvals. How are we able to afford this new groundbreaking technology being introduced into the market and have it for free, but you can't get people insulin, you can't get people Genuit, you can't get people Glipipride, you can't get people any of these diabetes
because it's a business,
blood pressure medications, or you can't get them EpiPens. Like, but the vaccine's a business too. The vaccine, so it costs something. Business. It costs something. So if it costs something and the government was able to somehow figure that out, how the hell are they scapegoating Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and making that the reason that they can't afford to do those for people? Explain it to me. Explain why they can't do prenatal care and prenatal vitamins for every woman in America that is pregnant in this country, how can they not do that for every expecting mother? But they can give you the vaccine. They can give you boosters for free. They can give you these 4 shots of this thing. They can staff it. They can dedicate people to the time. They can do all these free COVID tests. They can do all of these things. But okay, so they can do that all for free. But women can't have, their screenings, their pap smear screenings. They can't have all of their things that are necessary for them, all their preventative and also all of their prenatal care. We can't do that for the women of America, but we're going to cry about the patriarchy every minute. But literally, I don't see politicians. I don't even see Elizabeth Warren taking a stance on that and everything like that. I hear things like Medicare for all, but I'm like, how about you incrementally do something for people? What about getting the drug prices down? What about prenatal care? What about prenatal vitamins? You want to sit there and you want to talk about taxing and paying $5 billion for childcare after kids come into this world and necessarily haven't had the proper nutrition or are malnourished? Oh, then we're going to worry about giving free childcare when you're not taking care of them literally in utero. Come on, let's do one thing at a time that makes sense here. And let's think about this. And someone explain to me how we can pay for the vaccine, but we can't do any of this stuff. Explain it to me. Explain it to me and then tell me how you're blaming it on Bezos and Musk, because you guys already spend 3 times whatever you could tax them on on filling up the prisons for no reason every year. You can only tax them that kind of money once, but you spend it every year on the prison system. Explain it.
Audrey, explain it.
I mean, I don't get the blaming billionaire thing either. That to me makes no sense.
Right, because Audrey's going to be the next billionaire.
She could be.
Oh yeah.
No, you could be. I mean, someone your age just has to get big on YouTube or TikTok, make a couple of million, and then invest it, because you guys will live so long with all the medical advances that if y'all just invest your millions properly.
Audrey's going to be 300 years old.
But I'm joking. No,
she's already 87.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. All these kids in their 20s that make money on YouTube and TikTok will be billionaires because they can invest their money for 40 years, and some of them will get lucky on crypto.
Yeah.
Think
Audrey,
about it. Think about
Audrey,
it. If we'd all rolled the dice, if we'd all rolled the dice and literally bought into SHIB on like week 1 and all thrown in $5,000, we'd all be billionaires.
SHIB? Freaking, I wish I had been able to buy Amazon. Audrey.
Fair enough.
Yep.
But I'm saying that we had an opportunity literally just last year.
Oh, yeah.
To be multimillionaires, and we kind of blew it.
Sure. I mean, we just, instead of multimillionaires, we just make a few $100.
Well,
maybe 4 figures. Four figures.
A couple grand for me, but
yeah. Audrey, what are you still making TikToks? Are you on TikTok?
No, I'm trying to just get my YouTube under control first.
Okay. Do you have a video coming up soon?
I have 2. Yeah, I can't talk about one, but the other one is a Euphoria video.
Ooh, okay.
Because the next season's coming out, so I think I'm just gonna recreate some scenes from Euphoria.
Did you get a lot of engagement on that first Euphoria video?
I don't even remember. I don't think so, but the video is bad.
Do you think you're gonna get more?
You thought the video was bad?
I think the final product was good, but I think the video itself was not great.
Like, do you think that you're gonna get more engagement just because right now Zendaya is blowing up because of all the Spider-Man stuff? So,
I mean, maybe. Yeah, I'm hoping it does decent because of all the Euphoria things.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Yeah. I was asking because I definitely milked the Stranger Things stuff because it's it popped off on my channel and I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing more Stranger Things until it jumps the shark. Yeah. And I feel like the show has jumped the shark a little bit. And so because of that, I will probably not make any more Stranger Things content ever again. RAP for sure, but I definitely got some really great engagement from that and opportunities too. I mean, it is cool. Like what we do is just like such a cool thing, right? Even if the video doesn't get a lot of engagement, you're able to experiment and learn how to make something based on a show that you like, right?
Yes.
I mean, for me, it was definitely like cosplaying and like going to the filming locations and stuff like that. And for you, it's like figuring out how certain shots were done and like makeup and things like that. And that is cool. Like that is just
reverse
cool.
engineering that kind of stuff is really dope.
It's
fun.
For
sure.
Like I feel like this past month my YouTube stuff like plan has not changed, but I've learned a lot. I'd like to talk to you guys about it at some point. So I'm curious what you think, but maybe not now because it's already been an hour.
Do you think Elon Musk ever reverse engineered something?
Oh, he absolutely did.
I think everyone does, right? Like,
well, everyone successful does.
What do you think he reverse engineered? Like, what do you...
Human behavior. For one thing. Because think about XPay, PayPal, it reverse engineered human behavior and also financial transactions. He would have had to.
Audrey? What were you going to say?
About Elon?
Yeah.
No, I mean...
What do you think he's reverse engineered?
I don't know specifically. I just think like in order to grow, you have to look at like what worked before and then apply to whatever you're doing.
But he's an engineer. That's literally like
it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Reverse engineering human behavior makes sense, especially with what he's done.
I mean, don't YouTubers do that?
Yes.
Yeah,
their whole job.
I think so. Some of them do anyway.
But like with him specifically, he had to learn how to reverse engineer propulsion technology because he didn't have a background in rockets.
Right.
The same thing with he had to reverse engineer things when looking at cars. He didn't have a background in automotive either. Like, so the thing is, he's also an autodidactic learner, a reverse engineer, a self-starter. It's like if someone thinks that they're just as deserving of anything as Elon Musk, the answer is you're not. He is literally better than you at too many things for us to say he's better than you at ... It's like, no, just better than you. Because I mean, let's stop playing around. Here's the thing. Once you hit 50 to 100 things that you're better than people at, you can just stop saying better at and just say you're better. You know, like I don't see, and people are like, man, why are you sucking up to billionaires? Or what do you think they're going to give you something? Whenever someone says, oh, why are you kissing the butt of millionaires? You think they're going to give you something? They're betraying how their brain works because they think the only reason to defend people or to care about them is if you're going to get something out of it. That's why they vote for who they vote for. That's why they support the positions they support, because it will be the thing that they think they will directly get something out of or benefit from. So they're betraying their own principles and morals when they use that line of attack of calling someone a bootlicker or saying, oh, you know, hey, you're kissing that person's butt. Hey, they're not going to give you money. Hey, they're not going to sleep with you. They are betraying exactly why they do something or why they stand up for people or why they support people. And they're assuming that you support people for the same reasons. And it wouldn't occur to them that you might have principles.
Right. It all comes down to wanting what other people have. And that's never a good thing, no matter what level you're at.
T. Platt asked, am I a Twitter mercenary? No, I'm the Twitter emperor. I'm a Twitter warlord.
Oh my God.
I'm a Twitter warlord.
You just want to add the title emperor to everything.
Yes.
YouTube emperor.
Evil skills are no match for the powers of the YouTube algorithm. And now, young content creator, your channel will die.
Oh, wow. Audrey, you just missed his entire performance.
No.
You're gonna have to watch the replay because that was some anime level performance.
Well, that was Star Wars. It was like
no, I know it was Star Wars. I'm just saying the performance was anime level. I could feel it.
I can feel your anger.
Yeah, Roberto, I got a question for you just to start wrapping things up.
Sure.
Because we've been talking for an hour, but do you have could you tell us like briefly what your goals are on your YouTube channel? Like on YouTube in general, do you have any goals, any milestones that you want to hit?
We need to do a whole episode on this.
Hey, I'm setting it up. She could
version.
talk. He could talk briefly about it, and then maybe next week we could dive into it further if we want.
Okay.
So,
I'm just curious to know if we should be holding you accountable for anything.
Try to in 2022 try to make sure I don't go a whole week without uploading anymore, let alone 50 days. So on my main channel. So I want to be consistent there. My goal, I think, is I'll tell you guys my real goal for next year. My goal is 100 episodes of my own podcast, the Create Something Awesome Today podcast. I want to do 100 episodes. I think I can do it. And I want to make 100 videos on my main channel. I want to make 100 pieces of short form content to use across all the vertical video platforms. And I want to do 100 blog posts. And so I basically want to do, 100 pieces of written content, blog post wise, 100 pieces of podcast that also be video and audio. So that gets me, another 200 there, 100 pieces of short form vertical video, and then 100 main YouTube videos on the channel. And the reasoning with basically doing that much content is it gives me a baseline to turn those things into even more content. So basically also like 100 clips from the longer form things or the live streams or the podcast or the whatever. Like, so basically I want to be very aggressive about the amount of content that I make, but I want to be very intentional. I want to be thoughtful, and I want to refine and streamline processes that doesn't make that also take over my life. But it's one of those, I just want to be productive again. I want to feel productive again. And so I also want to feel consistent again. And so,
so you'll have to make, so you'll have how many, so you want to make 100 episodes for your podcast?
That means I have to podcast at least 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay.
But
on top of making at least a video every week.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
and I mean that's on top of like the stuff that you do offline that most people don't know that you're doing.
Yeah, the business stuff, that's where some of the rub is. But also the thing is, by doing a lot of this, I'll be able to probably scale enough revenue by doing some of these things to end up making enough revenue to just hire more people, because there's only so much. Like I've reached almost at least for the stage of life that I'm at until I get married and have kids, I've reached like my ideal lifestyle. Until then, my thing is still spending money into the business, but there's only so many more places to put it. That's not about, in terms of acquiring new hardware. The only things is there's cost to renovating the space downstairs to have a space for my team and a space for photo shoots and upping the content quality. So like it's going to take me a year to 18 months to finish those renovations, and then another 6 months to finish the podcast studio in the other room downstairs. And I'm also going to put a recording booth down there, because that's going to make it easier to make audiobooks without having to leave and go to a place and record all of that. Like having a truly soundproof audio booth to be able to record audiobooks, because I want to do the audio for all my books now that I'm doing my writing career, right? So it's like this practical thing that I need money for, but it's also so I can just make better stuff for people, and that I can also give my team a proper space to work in. And so that's why that needs to happen. But also I need to increase the revenue to hire more people so that all this doesn't take over my life, so I can start a family. And so that there's a ramp down plan in the future. So I have to ramp up and then ramp down. So I have to ramp up, hire more people, and then slowly walk back and take less on. You know what I'm saying? So I have to do those things. And because I've looked at Harris Heller and Ali Abdaal, I have some pathway to doing that. That makes sense as far as where the new revenue streams will come in. Because I've also already, aside from needing to get more equipment and workstations for my team, my personal like gear and equipment is about where it needs to be, which means all upgrades are sell the old thing, buy the new thing going forward, except for like 1 or 2 things that I still need to buy. Everything else is sell the old thing, buy the new thing. And then the other part of that is just buy stuff for my team, buy stuff for my team, buy stuff for my team, right? So
are we your team?
You guys are my collaborators. You guys are not employees of my company.
What does that mean? You're not going to get us anything? Man, this friendship sucks.
You get friendship, Romina.
Friendship is
You get the power of friendship. The power of friendship compels you.
I can't pay rent with that.
No, you can't. You really can't.
All right, shall we start wrapping up? Audrey, do you have any last words?
I'm hungry.
Wow. Okay. You know, sometimes, Roberto, I feel like the podcast is just you and me.
All right, today we're talking about Elon Musk. I know nothing about Elon Musk.
You don't have to know anything about Elon Musk to participate in the conversation that we were having tonight.
Yeah, but you guys are on a roll. I didn't want to intrude.
Okay,
Well,
so
I mean, I guess we can talk about YouTube stuff next time, and then Audrey can actually.
next week, Audrey,
Yeah.
you'll do the intro.
All right.
Roberto's like, yeah, she ain't coming for my intro.
Down.
All right, Audrey, do you have any last words? Do you want to comment on
I already
Roberto's
told-
goals?
I think it's awesome. I just hope it's not like too much.
Well, the thing is with the podcast, I'm doing them as live streams. So as long as it's 1 or 2 hours, it's done when it's done. Because I might even be able to sustain that Monday through Friday. I, like by building the habit of doing daily podcast right now. If I can do daily podcast all the way through the end of the year, I will have instilled a habit that makes it easier for me to make all content going forward. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
You know, Roberto, I think something that might be good to share maybe next week as we talk about that and just kind of winding down at the end of the year, holidays and all that stuff. I think I would be curious to know if you'd like revamp your schedule or like if there would be updates to your schedule, like on your calendar, like your everyday kind of.
I'm thinking of changing it around because the new house has changed a little bit about my lifestyle. So
well, maybe you can share that with us.
Maybe, yeah,
next week.
Maybe.
If you feel comfortable, because I'm curious, I love all that stuff. Even if I'm not like shopping to change my schedule, like I watch those videos, I like read those blogs. I just love
spreadsheet.
Listen, Audrey, at least I have a hobby. Okay,
All
don't
right.
attack me.
Yeah. Oh, one of the other reasons of doing 100 articles is because like I want to I'm gonna post them on my blog, but I'm also gonna just like repost them to LinkedIn because then they won't disappear from the internet or nothing like that. I'm gonna be reposting a lot of written stuff because it's like also I'm gonna write the book. Like I'm gonna finish the book, finish the last 20% because the thing is
That's your goal for next year.
Yeah, is to publish the book. The book's about finished. It's time to publish next year. But the goal, like a lot of my goal is like in terms of legacy stuff is I think there needs to be more of my content and more of my thoughts and more of my process that's documented in written step-by-step form or in information dumps in that way. And I think I need to do more things that can kind of preserve the information for people beyond like YouTube and this and that. Like I need more I need to decentralize more of my content, and that's an aggressive step for next year. So that's the other thing with making all this content is it'll start with the intent of it being on my YouTube channel, but I'll then disseminate it to all these other platforms. So
all right,
sounds like an ambitious plan.
Shall we wrap this up?
I'm ready if you all are.
All right, don't forget to tell people to tune in next week.
Thank you for listening to the Know Something Required podcast, a podcast where we talk about nothing, especially Audrey. Tune in next week where she will actually be able to contribute to the conversation because we'll talk about YouTube goals. This has been your trio of hosts, starting with Audrey, sus as hell Ember, Audrey the Silent Hut, Ember, I should say, and everything like that. Renegade Romina helping me out in these internet streets as we hold the government's feet to the fire. And of course, your dark lord of the internet here, blessing you with his tyranny, Roberto Blake. Thank you for listening to Know Some of the Required Podcast. Please give us a 5-star rating and review in Apple Podcast or anywhere podcasts can be reviewed. We'll catch you next time. Stop.